Hey YouTubers, got another video review for you. This is from a company called Uplus. They reached out to me and asked me if I'd want to do a review on one of their Uplus batteries, and I said sure. This is a new hybrid gel technology battery, something new that not a lot of people are familiar with. And if you're not into lithium, you don't really like it, and you don't have the money for lithium, then you could go with an absorbed glass matte lead acid battery like this, and it has some advantages and disadvantages over lithium. This one here is a 100 amp hour 12 volt battery, and it is maintenance free, so you don't have to deal with putting water in it or all that kind of stuff, and it's rated for over 2,000 cycles. Now the battery does weigh 60 pounds, so it's going to be a heavy battery, unlike lithium where it's going to be a lot lighter, but you do have that extra cost of lithium up front. Now over the long term, lithium will save you some money, but if you're just looking for something cheap, this is a decent battery. I've had it for a couple months. I've been testing on it, and this battery retails for like $200 on Amazon right now. If you look on the Amazon website, they've got like a $30 off instant coupon, so 170 bucks for a battery. And I know what you're saying. Yeah, you can go to Walmart and buy a 100 amp hour Start battery for about 100 bucks, and you can, but you're not going to get as much cycles out of it as you would something like this. Now I went ahead and did some measurements on the battery. This side to this side of the battery, it's 12 and 1/16. From front to back here, it is 6 and 9/16, and then from the bottom of the case to the top of the plastic case, it's 8 and an 1/8. Now, if you're going from bottom to the top of the terminal, you'd probably want to add 3/4 to an inch, just because the bolts are going to stick up some, and you've got a little bit of a brass connector there, a little brass terminal, and it's a screw-in M8 bolt, so it does stick up, like I said, probably about 3/4 to an inch, depending on how much you've got it tightened down on there. You can see I'm go ahead and recharging it, hooking it up to a battery charger. It's actually full, and I just wanted to go ahead and demonstrate it and see just how powerful it is, and this, that, and the other. Anyways, I've got a power inverter that I found at a bin store, one of those Amazon return stores, and it's like a 1,500 watt power inverter. Paid like $5 for this thing, so I can't complain. I tested it a while ago just for a minute, and it worked. So we're gonna hook it to this, and we're gonna test some things out, and just go from there. So one thing that I wanted to point out is the battery does have like a 3-year warranty, and if it's something you're interested in, you want to order it from Amazon. They do have 3 warehouses. They've got one in California, Georgia, and Texas. So if you order it, you could probably get it same day, if not the first or second day, by at least the 3rd day. So if you're in the lower 48, you shouldn't have any problems getting it within 3 days. Now, one thing that makes this battery special is its discharge rate. I know a lot of batteries, you'll put them on the shelf. When you go to use them next time, they'll be drained down. Well, this one has like a less than a 3% discharge rate. So let's say you fully charge it up to 100% and you leave it for 1 month just sitting on the shelf, and you come back, it's going to be at 97%. So less than 3% discharge rate. And a lot of other batteries that you get is only going to be at like 87%. So this has a lot better discharge rate. So if you're wondering what could you use this battery in, this battery is not for like a starting battery. You wouldn't want to use it for something like that. That's too much of a load on it for to be used as a starting battery. But you could use this for storing energy for solar panels and all that kind of stuff. Or you could use it in an RV. You could use it for a trolling motor, and use it in electric scooters and things like that. Now, if you're wanting to use it, in extreme situations, in the environment where it's cold and hot, this thing does have a range of -22 degrees Fahrenheit all the way up to 140 degrees Fahrenheit. So I just went ahead and pulled the battery off the battery charger, and I wanted to show you now that it's got some nice plastic handles. These are pretty sturdy, to pick it up with, because you know it does weigh 60 pounds, just a little over 60 pounds, but didn't seem like it was going to break or any of that. These are pretty sturdy handles. Now the terminals that are recessed into the battery, it looks like they're made out of brass. They have that brass color, so I assume that they're made out of brass. And then the M8 bolts, it looks like they're stainless steel. Not sure, but I believe it is stainless. I'm going to go ahead and test the voltage on it. And it's sitting at 13.7 volts. And so we're going to go ahead and take it on into the other room. And I'm going to hook it up to the power inverter, and we're going to test it out and just see how strong this thing really is. All right, so we're in my spare bedroom / junk room, and so I want to do a little testing in here. I have a Medea 12,000 BTU inverter window unit here, and I want to hook it up to the Uplus battery and that little cheap inverter that I found. And you can see all I have hooked up is just the 2 negative wires and the 2 positive. If you're wondering why there's 2, a lot of these cheap inverters, instead of giving you 1 large wire, they give you 2 little ones for the positive and the negative. And so you can see that's the only wires that's hooked up. And so literally I'm going to plug the air conditioner in. You can see that's just 1 wire coming out the front of the air conditioner. And then I'm going to have it plugged into a kilowatt meter here. And I'm just going to plug it in. I'm going to have to get an adapter. This thing is not, it's not going to let me plug it right in, so I'm going to have to get some sort of an adapter to extend this out. So I was going to plug in the kilowatt meter into the side of the inverter, but the mounting bracket kind of stuck in the way and it wouldn't let me plug it in. So I just went and got a little, it goes from 1 to 3, and I'm just going to plug it in, and that'll give me a little bit more length. There we go. And then now I'm just going to plug in the air conditioner directly into that watt meter, just like that. And now I have a readout. I'm not sure if you guys will be able to read that because it's kind of upside down and it's dark in here, but I'm going to go ahead and get the testing. And it's pretty funny when I turn that power inverter on. It's really loud right when it first kicks on. And you seen the air conditioner kick on here, and you can see right there that it kicked on. And just for right now, the wattage, it's using 22.6 watts and climbing. It'll probably climb up to about 460 watts of power being used from the air conditioner. Now, if you're wondering why is this air conditioner using such low wattage, like I said, this is a very efficient air conditioner. It's like one of the, I think it's the most efficient window unit air conditioner you can buy. It's an inverter style, so it doesn't use very much power at all. And it's still at 24.8 watts. We're going to come back in a few minutes and let this compressor kick on and ramp up the wattage and show you how much power this thing is able to pull out this battery. All right, so the compressor on the air conditioner just kicked on, and immediately as soon as it kicked on, the meter here on the front of the power inverter jumped up to like 651 watts to 640, 660, and I know that's not correct. That's what I said. This is a little cheap inverter, and I've tested it here with the watt meter, and it's at like 460 watts, and that's correct because I test it all the time. I have other testing equipment like a Victron Smart Shunt, and it tells me the wattage of what it normally uses. So don't always believe the meters on the front of your power inverters and things like that. But you can see here that it's producing cold air. It's at 60, 59, 58 degrees, and it's in the 90s outside today. So you know, it is working pretty hard. And we're just going to play around with it and just kind of go from there. And now I notice the fans ramped up on the power inverter, so that's pretty crazy. You can tell this thing's starting to get a good workout. It's at 482 watts on the kilowatt meter there. Alright, so I just wanted to show you guys that this would be able to run this 12,000 BTU unit air conditioner, and I've been sitting there watching the kilowatt meter, and it jumped up to like 493 watts, and you know, it's easily able to power this air conditioner, no problem. Now, for how long? Not real sure. I'm guessing somewhere around an hour, maybe a little less, just simply because, well, I'm guessing probably about an hour, just simply because of the inverter is going to use some power and draw some power, and you know, of course, the almost 500 watts out of the air conditioner, and it's going to fluctuate. It might get a little bit higher, you know, if the compressor kicks on, you know, and it has to run really hard. If it gets hotter outside or something, then it might use, you know, over 500 watts. So just guesstimating, I'm saying it would probably run it for probably about an hour or less. Now, with lead acid, you can only discharge it to about 50% of its capacity. You know, where, you know, lithium, you can go all the way down to, I believe 90% of its capacity. So, you know, that is one drawback. You know, if you're interested in running this in parallel, you can have no more than 4 batteries. If you want to hook it up in series, you can have unlimited amount of batteries. You know, as far as charging the battery, if you want to charge it with, let's say, a little cheap battery charger, again, I picked this one up for $5 at a bin store. It's just a little cheap Amazon battery charger. This works. Most people have just a generic battery charger laying around their house. They're really inexpensive. Or if you want to hook it up to solar panels and charge it that way, you're more than welcome to. You can pick up charge controllers on Amazon, very cheap, $10, $15, $20. This one comes from a company called Alarska. I think they sell this one for like 20, 30 bucks, and you can go that cheap and it works just fine. Or you can spend a little bit more money and go up to a better charge controller. This one here is a MPPT charge controller, and it's going to be a little more efficient. It's going to give you a little bit more power out of your solar panels, so it'll efficiently charge your battery. Where this one here is just a PWM charge controller, pulse width modulation charge controller. But I definitely recommend both of those. Any kind of charge controller to charge this battery. And the reason you want a charge controller if you're using solar power is so you don't overcharge the battery, and you don't want to overcharge it and you could cause a fire or something like that. So make sure you definitely use a charge controller. Don't just hook a solar panel straight to it. You know, if it's, you know, a smaller solar panel, yeah, like 2 or 3, 4, 5 watts, somewhere in there, you'll be fine. But as far as anything bigger than that, make sure you add a charge controller to this so you don't burn it up. Now, keep in mind, you can only charge at a maximum of 25 amps, and it'll take it about 5 hours to charge at 25 amps. And so to discharging, you can discharge the battery at a maximum of 45 amps continuous. As far as using a battery like this, you know, if you can get away with not using a power inverter, you know, then you're only going to be more efficient. So I recommend, you know, if you're running smaller objects, let's say you want to run lights or something like that, I would not recommend hooking this up to a power inverter and then using like a lamp or something like that out of your house, because the power inverter is going to use electricity to power the inverter, and so it's not going to be as efficient as if you just hooked up like a cigarette lighter plug like this, and then put in like a USB plug there. So it's got 2 slots for USB. They make light bulbs that have a USB plug on one end, and then they're got a light bulb and a cord, and then here in the middle you've got just like an on and off switch, and you can just plug these directly in right in there, and they're plenty bright. And you can see I'm running 3 of these lights here, and they only use 5 watts a piece. I've tested these multiple times in the past with portable power stations, and again, these only use 5 watts, so all 3 together, that's 15 watts, and man, this battery should run it a long time, and that's really the best way to be the most efficient without having to use a power inverter hooked to the battery and all that. So this is definitely what I recommend if you need lights. And you know, let's say you want to power like a 12 volt fridge. This thing won't have any problems powering a fridge, or let's say a CPAP machine, or just whatever. Now, you know, I'm not going to tell you that it's going to power a CPAP machine for a certain amount of time, because there's no way of knowing. The CPAP machine that you have might use more wattage than the one somebody else has. So, you know, you'll have to look on, you know, your device and see how much power it's going to use to determine how much the battery is how long it's going to last. Now, with a battery like this, an AGM gel battery, the state of discharge you can go down to is 50%. So it might be 100 amp hour battery capacity, but you can only discharge it down to about 50%. So basically it's like a 50 amp hour battery. And, you know, truthfully, it's only got about 50 amp hours of usable stored power in here that you can use. If you go below that 50%, you might harm the battery, and you know, I wouldn't recommend it. So if you have any questions about the battery or any of that, they do provide you with a nice user manual. You know, it's actually understandable, and I was going through there reading some of the information about the discharge and stuff on here, and I was telling you guys you can only discharge it at 50%, and so it says that you shouldn't take it below 10.5 volts. So that gives you an idea of where you need to be, you know, in your voltage. So I would definitely not go past that, and you know, as long as you keep it above that 10.5, maybe just a little bit more, just to be on the safe side, then you should be fine. But in order to do that, you're going to need to have some sort of battery monitor that's accurate, or test it with a multimeter, you know, across the terminals. And so anyways, if you're wondering, is this battery for you? Might be. It is probably the cheapest battery as far as the amount of cycles that you get. This thing is twice the amount of cycles as a normal lead acid AGM battery. So in the long run, it's probably going to pay off for you. Now, you know, again, if you got the money, I would do a lithium battery, just because you can discharge it up to about 90%, where this one's only 50%. But if you know, like me, and you want to be cheap, and you don't want to spend a whole lot of money, $200, and then with the $30 off right now, you're at $170. That's not bad at all to just get into, you know, a cheaper battery that's going to last a long time and offer you quite a bit of cycles. So, you know, anyways, so far so good. Like I said, I've had this battery for a few months, and pretty happy with it. So until next time, guys, thanks for watching. Have a good one. Please like and subscribe.